It's true, you're sure that it's true, you're justified in being sure that it's true, you didn't infer it from a false belief, and if it wasn't true, you wouldn't have been sure that it was true. Is that enough? No. Consider a variant on the barn case. We'll just keep the story the same, except change one small detail. Let's suppose that when the director was realizing his vision of the barn-filled rural panorama, he only had so many barn facades to dole out. And he saw there wasn't a barn on the first hill, so he put one out. He saw there wasn't on the second one, and he put one out. And then by the time he'd come to the last hill, he'd run out of barn facades. There were no more on set, and the budget didn't stretch to any more barn facades. But then he found, lo and behold, what good fortune, there's already a barn on that last hill. Okay. And then suppose, sometime later, as before, you drive through the country thinking all the time, there's a barn, there's a barn, there's a barn, there's a barn, and you see what appears to you on the last hill to be a barn, and you think, there's a barn. So same story, except for that one small change of detail, namely how the director put the barns on the hills, or the fake barns on the hills, rather. So that one small change rather matters, because note, now it's the case that if your belief concerning that last hill and the barn hadn't been true, namely if there hadn't really been a barn on that hill, then you wouldn't have believed it was true. Because if there hadn't been a barn on the hill, you wouldn't have seen anything up on that hill. It's not that if you hadn't been a barn on the hill, then there would have been a barn facade on the hill. Now in this new version of the story, if there hadn't been a barn on the hill, then the hill would have been empty. The director would have been just a little bit dissatisfied. And you would have thought, strange, that last hill has no barn on it. So, in the new version of the story, you satisfy each of the 5 conditions, and yet, surely, you don't know that there's a barn on the hill. Why? Well, consider this. Look, you've had many barn-like beliefs while you're driving around. You looked at the first hill, you thought there was a barn. You were wrong. You looked at the second hill, you thought there's another barn. You were wrong. Looked at the third one, you saw the post and beam barn. You were wrong. All the time you were wrong. It just happened by chance that your last belief that there was a barn on the hill, that was the right one. But it was one dot of correctness in a sea of incorrectness. How then can it have amounted to knowledge? It seems like it shouldn't. So we need another condition. That's what we always need, another condition. Maybe it's something like this. You know that P, only if 1, P is true. 2, you're sure that P. 3, you're justified in being sure that P. 4, you don't infer P from a false belief. 5, if it weren't the case that P, then you wouldn't believe that P. And 6, the 6th condition, your beliefs about matters of this general kind are, for the most part at least, accurate. That's the condition that's not satisfied in the second version of the fake barn case. Most of your beliefs concerning barns are wrong. So your one true belief can't be knowledge. Phew! So we've got 6 conditions now. At last! Are they jointly sufficient? Well, it may not still work.